Good afternoon, hello, and welcome everybody to this 10th webinar of AceTech Network Series 2020. I'm Viraj Pisolkar and as the brand director of AceTech, and on behalf of the entire management team, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to each one of you for taking out time and gracing this platform with your presence. Team AceTech would also like to thank architect Reza Kabul and architect Bobby Mukherjee for putting together this much needed discussion on hospitality in the post-COVID era. This session will throw light on some realistic solutions, innovations, creation, and opportunities that lay hidden for the entire hospitality industry in this new start. Factors like rigorous cleanings at the entrance, new hygiene expectations in bathroom and sanitary ware, use of special fabrics, furniture, hardware, flooring, and other amenities in guest rooms, including loose carpets, remotes, minibar, and other detailing, will go under a complete restructuring in this new normal for Hospitality 2.0. The network series has been generating excellent response and we're really honored with the industry support. Further, I'd like to thank our partners for today's webinar, Dormakaba and Serra Sanitary Ware. We have a short 20-second videos on both of them if you can. Yeah.
For over 150 years, Dorma and Kaba worked hard to earn your trust. We've combined the strengths and formed Dorma Kaba to become the trusted partner for smart and secure access solutions worldwide. We offer products, solutions, and services for secure access to buildings and rooms, now all from a single source. Our solutions match your requirements and satisfy all security aspects of modern infrastructures. Like to know more? Simply get in touch with us.
गूंजती धड़कनों से दीवारें हैं, क्यों कहीं और जाने को फिरते हैं, मन कहता आज घर पे रहते हैं।
सेरा, कुछ पल घर के नाम।
So talking about our today's panel, we have an interesting mix of some of the finest veterans from the field of architecture, hospitality, and manufacturers whom we believe have a key role to play in times ahead. Without any further delay, I'd like to introduce our illustrious panel for today's webinar. Architect Reza Kabul, Principal Architect and Founder Reza Kabul Architects. Architect Reza Kabul has envisioned and successfully executed a string of path-breaking projects centered on the design philosophy of liberating spaces. He has handled projects for leading names in the Indian real estate industry and continues to enjoy the trust and appreciation with projects that set pioneering benchmarks in the architecture design. Though he loves to work on projects of major segments and scales and design, but hotels and towers are his passion. Today, Reza Kabul is an eminent personality in the world of architecture and has designed many famous buildings in India and abroad. Architect Bobby Mukherjee, Principal Architect and Founder, Bobby Mukherjee Associates. Bobby Mukherjee Associates, a globally established design atelier with projects in several countries, believes that design is an organic entity. Their creations use rich flavors and cultural references for modernity to create unique experiences through light and design that often blend in with the location in which the project is built. Mr. Chandar Balji, Chairman and Managing Director, Royal Orchid Group. A veteran with 40 years of experience, Chandar Balji is a thought leader in the ever-evolving hospitality space. He owns and operates one of India's foremost hotel brand with over 4,000 rooms, 112 restaurants in 50+ locations and 38 locations in luxury, upper middle market and budget hotel categories in India. Mr. Amitabh Tyagi, Senior Director, Technical Services, Hilton Worldwide. Amitabh has a solid grounding in hospitality, architecture, design, and construction. His strong track record includes concurrently managing multiple construction projects, both new build, hotel refurbishment, ensuring timely completion of projects within desired quality and budgets. He is also an experienced professional in providing technical support to operation teams and assisting acquisition and development departments in the technical evaluation of all new deals and hotel conversion projects. Prior to Hilton, he was associated with Starwood Hotels and the Taj Group and worked on numerous high-profile projects throughout South Asia and majorly in India. Mr. Natesh Balkrishna, Managing Director, Dormakaba India. With over 27 years of industry experience spanning various sectors, of which 15 years is with Dormakaba, He has functional expertise in product management, strategic marketing, business development, sales, and general management. He was erstwhile in regional sales director for Dormakaba, South Asia. Mr. Ayush Bagla, Executive Director, Serra Sanitaryware. Ayush Bagla is based out of Mumbai and works closely with developers, hotel brands to provide entire bathroom and floor tiling solutions. He has a project development background, having worked closely with many business hotel projects and mid-market and budget hotel projects. Serra has more than 325 SKUs in sanitaryware, 615 faucets, and 2,500 in tiles. They work very closely with design teams, civil, plumbing contractors to optimize product benefit for the consumers and then work with commercial teams to put together a cost-effective package for the developer of the project. Serra has been manufacturing its products in India, in India's largest factory of the country, and is not dependent on Chinese imports. Over the last 10 years, automation and robotics have resulted in many breakthrough processes with a visible benefit in aesthetics to consumers. I wish you all a very good session, and over to you, Mr. Mukherjee and Mr. Kabul. Yes, over to you, gentlemen.
Okay, hi guys.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for coming on the panel. Bobby, you can go ahead.
So, Reza, should we have some questions first for the panelists?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, we're looking at a travel and tourism and hospitality industry, which is a $28 billion business. And it seems that it's the most affected business today. So we just like to open the session and, throw it to each of them, I mean, to Amitabh or to Chandar. How are they handling the present situation, and what do they think what's going to be happening in the future?
Reza, there are quite a lot of things.
Mr. Balji, your microphone's off here.
Yeah. Hello.
There are quite a few things which are being worked upon in terms of technology and also hygiene. But since the business is not back in bulk, so I mean, all these initiatives are still being tried and tested. So, for example, we have launched a clean stay program, which has which has got everything to do with hygiene and housekeeping. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this clean stay program is in collaboration with a company called RB. RB is a company which is, which owns Dettol and Lysol. So once the housekeeping is done as normal, after that RB comes into picture and they have identified some 14 very important touch points which need to be sanitized. And then effort will be, of course, right now the occupancies are not very high. So one room which is occupied will be given to the other guest only after 3 days. After it is, housekeeping and hygiene and all that is done. We are very sincerely working on digital keyless entry. I'm not very sure how successful will it be, because right now one still has to go to the reception, show his identity proof, and then only check in. So if the government cooperates and finds some ways of uploading the documents without being physically presenting them, I think then only it will be successful. In any case, because most of the hotels have got RFID locks, also the lifts are also RFID access control. It will be successful with some cooperation from the government agencies.
Right. Okay, but doing all this, don't you think the cost of the eventual, the cost of the room is going to go up, and the end user is going to be paying for more than what he actually was getting?
I think, Reza, it will not be an excuse to the end, because in this competitive environment, nobody can survive because right now to start with occupancy will be a struggle. So, but where it will be owners extra expensive. So basically, the business margins will thin down.
Right. Right. Okay. Bobby, you can.
Amitabh, when your hotels open, when the lockdown ends, how will it look different in terms of, the lobbies, the check-in process, the all-day dining? Do you foresee some short-term changes being executed now for the opening?
So Bobby, some hotels have already reopened, and the care which is being taken is that again social distancing while checking in. The layouts of the lobbies in terms of furniture have been such that social distancing is maintained. As far as all-day dining is concerned, buffets are being, I mean, as far as possible, it has to be a la carte, and room service is being encouraged.
So will they be coming down to the restaurant to have their breakfast, or will it be served in the rooms?
As I said, room service will be encouraged, but if somebody wants to come down, in terms of furniture layout, the furniture has been laid out in such a way that social distancing is maintained. And in all-day dinings, because right now the occupancies are less, so a la carte is being promoted.
And are you doing something with your air conditioning systems and fresh air intake and
yes,
some sort of keeping the air quality better than normal?
Yes, a lot of research is being done. I mean, right now there are no tie-ups as such, but ultimately there'll be a countrywide or a global tie-up with someone, because right now a lot of research is being happening on how to improve on indoor air quality, because right now there are a lot of products which are claiming that this product kills 99.99% of viruses, 99.99% of bacteria, but that is not yet tried and tested. Of course, everybody comes up with lab testing certificates and all that, but that is yet to be seen on ground.
Mr. Balji, when your hotel is open, how is it going to be different from what it is now?
See, what I feel is that, yes, there's a lot of paranoia right now. And people are saying, oh, this should be done. But if you see places like London and all that, is back to normal. People don't care. They're just roaming around everywhere as freely as possible, mixing around. You saw Soho that day totally jam-packed and all that. So while, yes, from hotel point of view, we are taking all the precautions which are required so that you don't, minimum touch or whatever it is. But I think these things are going to be not there for too long. I think, after some time, people have to mix around. If you go to a bar and you can't have 6 feet distance between your partner or so, whatever it is there. So you will be mixing around. So yes, for the next couple of months, as long as vaccine doesn't come out, but even when vaccine has not come out here, people are, lockdown is there. Seen what happened in Bangalore, which is opened the thing, and within 1 month, people have been roaming around carelessly, and so cases have shot up. So I think, and also what I feel is that all these measures that were taken when there were bomb blasts and all that, and security and stuff like that, what is today is reduced to nothing. Somebody walks into a hotel, and what checks are you really doing in a hotel? Earlier there was a lot of checks. Now they are not doing any check. So similarly for sanitization, and also there will be some sort of enthusiasm of let's do this, let's do that. But ultimately, I think it's going to be diluted, because of the very nature of human beings. And of course, India, of course, everything chalta hai, people want to shortchange everything. So I don't think there'll be that kind of thing in a matter of a couple of months. Yes, we have been severely impacted in our hotels because there's no business today.
But
so,
Mr. Balji, in the
Yeah.
in the near future, when it opens, say the next month, when things start opening, when people are still in this paranoia mode, in order to make them feel as well, also health-wise, actually be technically right in your solutions. What immediate changes or soft changes are you planning to do in your project, in your hotel?
what across the industry, there has been certain things which are like contactless check-in. Then you're putting in masks, you're putting in sanitizers, and so all that is being done by, I think now practically most of the hotels. So of course, as you say, we're encouraging people to dine out in the outdoor areas so that you don't have any return air thing working on. We have told our people to shut out the return air. So you are only doing fresh air in the restaurants at the moment. It's going to be a little more costly, but right now that is what is being done. Unless there's so many things which are coming now, like UV filters for the return air. So all those are being experimented, but you can't say that you got a real solution today. Like even when you're entering the hotel, people have got that spray, tunnel. Now people are debated that whether it's the right thing to do to spray a guest with some, or is going to maybe harm the guest, or guest may get a little scared that he's being sprayed with a chemical, and whereas a lot of products have come out, spraying tunnels have come out, so. Basics, of course, hand sanitizer, temperature checks. Yes, everybody does mind it. But
and your guest room?
Guest rooms, of course, as I said, right now there's no occupancy, very little occupancy. But when the room is being is checking out, the proper sanitization is being done of the room, and we are keeping the room because we can afford that right now. We keep the room locked for maybe 2 or 3 days, and give maybe even an alternate room, so that if one room has a patient or somebody who's asymptomatic, he doesn't spread the virus to the other room. So we can keep distance as far as rooms are also concerned. And room service, of course, is being delivered at the door. The guy doesn't go to the inside the room. He takes in the trolley in a tray, and the tray is handed over to the guest, and and of course now there's no signature as such, so you have a contactless billing also, and menus also on QR code today. You go to the restaurant and you are straight away, you put your mobile phone, and the menu gets put there, and then you can place your order with the. So all those things have been done for time being, and I think they are good measures. And of course, some of these measures have additional cost, but I think this additional cost will get covered once the occupancies pick up. Once the occupancies pick up, I think this will go. But people have started traveling also. There's a lot of hype about, people won't like to travel, three in a row or so, three row. But yesterday, my brother-in-law went from Delhi to Goa. He said flight was packed. There was no empty seat. That means that people are going. So I think while a lot of scare is being created in the market, but I think what we need to look at is how do we control our costs. So what we've done is we totally rejigged our business model. How are we controlling our costs? How are we going to control our even new project costs? Instead of going to foreign interior designer, we'll go to Indian interior designers, right? Cut the costs.
That's something that we are excited about.
We're looking forward to that, rather.
That's probably one thing good that's going to come out, for us architects, that importing guys down, from distant places, getting them visas. Even they will be panicking. The designers will be panicking themselves, flying around, coming here.
Yeah, you see, buy products from India, as Sarah said. We just opened a hotel in Morbi, and I was amazed when I went there. I said, "My God, what a place! The whole city is ceramic, and nothing but ceramic, right?" And they say they're giving a run for the money to China. I think even if we had to pay a little more, we decided, okay, we won't import things from China. And I think even hoteliers should think that today, do we need a foreign chain at all? I'm sorry for some co-panelists or whatever it is there. I mean, what are we really? Clientele is Indian, and Indians are servicing it, and you are having a foreign brand, and then a lot of money is going abroad. So I think the whole industry needs to look at whether it's architects or it's materials which are being locally sourced, and so yeah, I can understand that you have a 5-star hotel in Bombay, Delhi, or whatever it is there, where brand recognition is very important. But why do you need in a smaller city a foreign brand where a lot of money will go there? They'll add to the cost. Now, as it is, you're going to add to the cost of operations, and business is going to be down. So I think people will start, and they should start looking at, that you are want to get a foreign brand for the sake of that. We had a Ramada brand for 10 years in one of our hotels. Bobby, you know about it, right? And after 10 years of paying management fee to them, we gained nothing out of it. There was not much of business. So I think we converted into our own Regenta brand, which is now our brand for our hotels. And I think we are doing equally well, if not better, and without paying the fee to them. So I think everywhere we got to rejig the model of business today. And I think that will be probably the way forward. How to control costs. We've done a lot of, in this 3 months, we did a lot of webinars and skill training, skilling of people. So everybody, a receptionist will will refuse to clean a floor. But today he's ready to do it because first of all, he is afraid of losing a job. And secondly, he's understood dignity of labor. So we've done that, and we are also now, example, even we did a management development program in the last 3 months, and we took people who are our number 2s and number 3s, head of department, we trained them to be general managers. So now when we open our hotels, instead of poaching a guy from another competition at a very high price, we are now able to give a general manager to a new hotel that we tie up with at a substantially less cost. So that is what all we have done. Even in the kitchens, we have done convenience foods, all sorts of things, so that we don't need highly trained chefs for every single hotel. We need people who can, gravies are made in advance and it's distributed to other hotels. And so we have done a total rejigging as of that is concerned. So I think there has been a positive side to this COVID crisis. Lots of time we were not able to do. We tell a general manager, reduce the cost. He says, no, sir, nahi hota hai, this problem, that problem, this customer service, that customer service. So now customers will also expect less contact. So when there's less contact, then you need less manpower. And if you have less amount of man cost, and therefore I think some additional costs will be, I think business will come back. To my mind, I think business will come back. It's a matter of another 3 or 4 months. We will start breaking even. We had already started breaking even. Last month we did break even on operational, but unfortunately, now Bangalore hotels have gone into a lockdown. So, but I feel that now 2-3 months we will definitely break even. But we should start thinking that okay, local. We should start thinking of cost cutting, what is necessary, cut out the frills and stuff like that. An architect, when he can
go local, go vocal, huh? Go local, go vocal.
Yeah, local, vocal is very important today to think about.
Reza, come back soon. What are you doing in the US now? You realize why it's dark in the background? He's in California. He's been parked there since a while.
Yeah, I'm in the dark right now.
So,
So yeah, good. You know, but
Ranga
I was wanting to tell.
back to US.
I was wanting to tell Chandra, you know, because what happened is here when they opened up Florida, they opened up California, there was a rise in the cases, and overnight, you know, in a day, I don't know the exact figure, but there was a 30,000 rise in the, you know, addition to the COVID cases. So now they've gone into a second lockdown and they've shut down everything. So they've shut down the bars, the restaurants, the salons, everything that came up. So that's been shut down because of the rises in the cases. And they were not allowed, nobody was allowed inside into the restaurants. It was all outside, outdoors. A lot of the streets in the smaller towns were shut down, and they started putting tables outside, and the, you know, the service was given outside. The guests were not allowed inside. But listening to everybody and talking about this, I think the future is going to be technology. It's all going to be technology driven, the touchless and contactless and everything. So I would like to ask, you know, our friend Ayush, what he has, Sarah has in store for the, you know, touchless, and what's the new way forward for technology for the hotels.
Thank you, Mr. Kabul. Sarah's offerings for hospitality post-COVID are very interesting. We have a range of touch-free sensor-based faucets, antimicrobial glazing on all sanitary ware products for hospitality, antimicrobial polypropylene seats, and Duroclast seats. Now, Duroclast seats are very interesting. They are bacteria repelling, stain and scratch resistant. And they are the closest you can get to ceramic seats. So the touch and feel is very close to ceramic seats. All the pores have been closed because of the treatment that's done on them. So for high frequency areas, a completely touch-free toilet experience is possible. And the result of COVID has seen a demand for touch-free products having increased 60 times in the last 2 months, especially for sensor-based faucets. So we understand that the hospitality industry requires design extravagance and luxury in aesthetics. And there are a lot of products which are made keeping those things in mind. So for example,
you are having some kind of a retrofit arrangement, or you're going to have a total new, you know, the fittings coming new? Because I was talking to some other brands and they came up with this, that, you know, they would be taking back the old ones and they would be giving new ones at a very competitive price. So do you have something in mind like this for end users?
Out on a case-by-case basis, you know, depending on the products that you like. So for example, these wall-hung WCs, these are completely rimless and they have no external facing cavities. Then we have these single-piece WCs, which are both in compact and large form, which have no joints. Then the tabletop thin rim wash basins give you a larger area to use and a very tiny rim. And the touch-free urinals, again very popular, where the flush volume is only 0.75 of liter. So we can look at on a case-by-case basis retrofitting, and nowadays, you know, the smart fitting, which earlier would take 2 hours to fit a WC, I mean, can be done in 15 minutes. So we have these water-saving designs where we reduced a conventional 6-liter flush to 3.5 liters, and a half flush of 4 liters has been reduced to 2.5 liters. And most products now have a 3D and 4D flushing, which clean the entire circumference of the bowl with the minimal possible water. So all this has been made possible only because of innovations at the manufacturing process at the factory. We are one of the companies which have not relied on Chinese imports. And those numbers are available. Our Chinese and other imports have been negligible in the past few years, and they'll decline further. So the manufacturing competencies have been developed in-house at the factory. We are the first company to use natural gas as the fuel, no use of coal, and therefore no emission at the factory. For the faucet,
So Amitabh, I want to ask one question to Amitabh here. You know, Amitabh, what happens in, you know, the public toilets? I mean, the rooms we can, you know, manage by cleaning it. We don't give the rooms immediately, you know, to the guests. We give it after a couple of days. What happens in the public toilets? I mean, somebody using the WC, and then what, do you have a housekeeping guy standing outside and he goes and sanitizes it, or how is that going to be in the future? Amitabh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Most of the sanitary fixtures and plumbing fittings are going to be changed to touchless stuff, which will again result in a lot of capex expenditure, but I mean, you can't help it. And then more focus on housekeeping and hygiene. So,
I mean, if every time I go into the WC, I use the seat, I come out, so you're going to have the housekeeping going and maintaining it, or how is that going to work?
as of now, what we are doing is if somebody uses the WC and comes out, we try to lock it for another, I mean, after cleaning, lock it for another couple of hours before anybody else goes in. But right now it is possible because the occupancies are low. Going forward, we will definitely have to think about it. It's a very good question.
So like we have that, that's why I wanted to come back to Sarah. You know, you've seen a lot of places in Germany and where you sit on the toilet seat and then there's a kind of a, or in Korea as well, you know, where you have there's a plastic rim around the seat, and every time the person uses and gets up, you know, you just press it and it moves to the next one. So do you have something like this coming up in India?
Yes, I think
I mean, I want to ask Sarah the question.
We have to certainly get something like this. Right now, what we are doing is that if one guest uses that particular WC, we lock the door and put a cross.
I understand, Amitabh, but then if you are having tomorrow when we get into the normal mode and then, you know, you have guests coming in, you have banquets, you have weddings, how are you going to handle those things?
No, we certainly have to go for solutions like you mentioned. And the only thing is that it will result in some extra capex. But if we have to survive in the industry, we'll have to do it for sure.
But one of the solutions can be these Duroplast seats. They are as close to ceramic, and the pores have been closed using antimicrobial treatment. So, I mean, this is a possible solution. Obviously, if someone has come in contact with it and there's a customer resistance to using it again, then you have to physically clean it. But other than that, it's bacteria repelling.
Right.
Ayush, right now, during this lockdown or working from home scenario, the problem is that we people get educated by brands like you. And as of today, the physical interaction is very, very limited. So whatever stuff we are getting through email, internet, we are trying to sort of research. But I mean, suppose if we would have been able to meet person to person, then maybe you could have presented something. I could have questioned. I mean,
right.
As I said, we get educated by people like you. We don't know what is happening otherwise. So that is a bit of a limitation. But still, we are doing whatever we can by researching through internet and all that stuff, which is not that effective as a face-to-face presentation. Right. So I hope soon we are able to interact with people like you. And I mean, as Reza asked this question, which is a very difficult one, and we have not thought through it at all because we are just focusing on guest rooms. Public areas, I mean, we are just removing out furniture, just try to maintain social distancing. But then we'll have to think of solutions, how to sanitize all day dining every time the meal gets completed. So all that is still work in progress.
Right. Like you go to when you go out in public, it says that all these things are made it mandatory that you got to wear a mask and you got to go outside. So my question to you is, if when you open up the restaurants, how does a person go to a restaurant and sit down and, you know, eat with the mask on?
People, number one, if there is a 4-seater table, only 2 people are allowed to sit there. And mask is mandatory for sure, because now it is mandatory by law. Whenever you, I mean, even if...
Whenever you're out in the public.
Even if in my apartment complex, if I go for a morning walk in the morning, I have to wear a mask, otherwise the security guard doesn't allow me to walk.
Right. Okay. Let's hear it from Dorma, what they have to offer for the hospitality industry.
Hey, hi everyone, and first of all, thank you all to nominate me as this panelist. Thank you, everyone. Okay, coming to the present context, I think if you really visualize the present context, I think there are two priorities for every organization. One is, of course, the employees and safety of the employees. I think which is much more relevant in hospitality, where the employees in the hospitality get in touch with the customers or the guests in the front office, the housekeeping, the room service. And of course, the second is how fast the organization is able to adapt to the customer behavior. Presently, we see few changes in the customer behavior, as Mr. Amitabh mentioned, as other people also mentioned, shift to value. I think the customers are shifting to value and are shopping only what is essential. Second is a big surge in digital. I think we all know the story of grandparents learning to order online or using the various WhatsApp and FaceTime to connect to people. So I think digitalization is going to be the new in thing when it comes to customer behavior, which people are open to. Shock of loyalty is also one trend where I think customer or brand loyalty is one thing which we see a big change, where people are changing or switching brands if they're able to get their needs fulfilled. And finally, which I think Amitabh and Mr. Chandra also mentioned in their thing, was health or hygiene, which is the most critical thing when it comes to hospitality. And basically, it's to minimize touch and, of course, physical contact. And coming to Dorma Kaba, I think we play a huge role in this. We have got products across the journey of the guests in the hotels, starting from the entrances, where we have recently launched a product called the Safe Tower. Basically, it's a tower that takes care of the safety protocols. The various safety protocols are basically hand sanitization. I think you have a tower which is around 4 feet in height at the entrance, where you have the checks whether the guest has done the hand sanitization. Next, it checks whether the guest is wearing a mask. Next, it checks whether the temperature check, and then if he has got a valid or authorized access, then he gets access into the premises. Of course, the access into the premises could be through the automatic door, which could be an automatic sliding door or automatic swing door, or the revolving doors, which we see in many properties. And of course, the next is basically the most critical, where you have a lot of physical contact, is the check-in process. I think, which Amitabh also mentioned about the check-in process, where we are into that BLE technology, wherein we can give mobile keys to the guest, where the guest can directly go and check into his or her room without going to the painful process of the check-in or avoid the front office, and directly check into the rooms. And he also gets access to all the areas as per his membership or the platinum membership to various spas, gyms. And it is just a mobile access, so that there's absolutely no contact with the front office, which basically offers you which offers you safety to the guest, as well as it's a very hassle-free experience. And many of the international brands, I'm sure Hilton is also one of them, which has really mandated all the properties to get into this BLE technologies for their rooms. Coming to public places, of course, Reza Kapoor, you did mention about toilets. Of course, you spoke about the WCs, but I think the access to the toilets is also very critical. So we have solutions wherein we can make the doors to the toilets absolutely touch-free, where you just wave your hand and the door opens, so that you get access to the toilets. And this is a retrofit, which can be done in any of your existing doors, where you can remove the door closer and fit the automatic door operator on that. And even for restaurants, I think even when you have a restaurant, and a restaurant will also have those, you can incorporate the automatic doors. As well as we got a system or a process or access solution, wherein you can give access to guests who have got a valid booking. Maybe he just flashes his mobile. If he has got access to the valid booking, the door opens and he can enter the restaurant. So then there's very little physical contact. Coming to business centers again, which is going to be which is of course very widely used. And again, here we can give a solution wherein absolutely no contact, physical contact, where we can send the keys to the mobile of the guest, and the guest just access the business center with no physical interaction or no touching any handle or not touching any of the hardware, just entering the business room, and he has got access for that time limit, and finishes his meeting, just moves off with very little interaction. Of course, he pays the bill by the time he checks out. So these are few solutions, and to add one more, we also have a crowd management solution which can be used in your retail area or banquets, wherein basically to monitor the occupancy in the retail shop or banquet, so that you have a preset number of occupancy in that area as per the guidelines of the government or as per the guidelines of the premise owners. These are few solutions which you have, which are very, very relevant to the present scenario. And I think.
What about entering the hotel? Your first entry point.
Yeah. So entry, as I said, in the entry, we have got a new product called the Safe Check Tower. So basically, this checks your hand sanitization. It checks your mask, whether you're wearing a mask. It also does a temperature check. If all the three have been done, then it gives you access to your premises. And of course, entrances, of course, we all know we have got a wide range of automatic products, basically your sliding doors, your swing doors, or your revolving doors, which are basically automated, where you don't have to do any physical touch with the doors or the handles.
So it's like something we used to always joke, you can forget your wife, but you can't forget your mobile. It's actually coming true.
Absolutely. I strongly believe another 4 years or 5 years from now, I think people will forget keys. It will be strict. I think we all see it in the cars now. Nobody has a car key. And in your residences also, we've got those digital locks now. So I think going forward, I think keys will be strict. I strongly believe in that.
Natesh, this is my personal opinion, not my company's opinion, but I feel when it comes to business centers, I don't think business centers are required anymore in the hotels.
Correct.
As far as you can get some printing or photocopying facility somewhere, I don't think there is any requirement of having a business center, because everybody carries his own laptop. Gone are the days when people used to go to the business center to check their mails on those terminals. So I think if we avoid them, we are actually avoiding a lot of risk altogether. Then again, coming back to the guest room, we are working on something like, for example, your room service has to order. The room service menu comes on the TV screen itself, along with the QR code. So all you have to do is that you have to scan that code and the order goes to the room service kitchen directly. We are also avoiding, putting a lot of unnecessary material in the guest room, like guest compendium, those stationery stuff, room service menu, pillow menu, and all that stuff. And what we have observed is that a lot of people are so brand conscious nowadays that they carry their own shampoo, soap, cosmetics, and they don't use the guest amenities put in the hotel at all. So why put it? So we are avoiding putting it, but that will always be available on request.
Amitabh, what about hair dryers and that hot water kettle?
Yes. So basically, we are trying to.
Highly.
So we are trying to.
Too much contact in these products.
See how many people are. I don't have any hair at all, so I don't use hair dryer at all. So I mean, maybe 75% of people do not use, or maybe more, do not use those amenities at all. So why put them? But they'll always be available on request and will be supplied after thoroughly sanitizing them. So that's what we are working towards.
And what about swimming pools and gyms?
That is still a question mark how to handle it. Right now, even wherever there is small occupancy, we have not opened the gym and we have not opened the swimming pools. But in any case, all our gyms have contactless entry. But when it comes to the equipment, gymnasium equipment, we are not very sure what to do about it. Because one guy uses it for 15-20 minutes and then the other guy comes. So right now, our gyms are not operational.
One interesting aspect of this is the frequency of any renovation in a hotel room. So we believe that faucetware that is normally changed in a few years, we've tried to go to 50 years of warranty on the faucetware, the only company in the country to do that. And on sanitary ware, our entire sanitary ware range is robotically glazed. So that 7 mm to 11 mm of glazing that you see, which is the most important aspect of what the customer sees in sanitary ware, that is completely robotically done. So there are no yellow stains developed over a period of time, and there are no uneven surfaces. So that again, the life is enhanced to minimum 15 years. The frequency, yes.
Ayush, my request to you would be, because I mean we are not being able to interact physically, to be in touch and keep educating us by sending relevant literature or presentations or whatever you have.
Of course, of course, of course.
See, Amita, one of the things that bothers me is after the pandemic's over, there's going to be a big psychological impact that would have taken place on most humans. Now, keeping that in mind, is there going to be a new design guideline book in terms of from your side or in terms of look and feel? I mean, it's a question I also have for Reza. What is your opinion as to what will be the new styling, that would come up in the near future?
Bobby, to answer your question, till now, I mean, I have worked for various brands. Say, I'll give you an example about Taj Luxury Properties. We used to focus on giving a rich look.
Yeah.
In terms of design. I think now we'll have to work towards, I mean, Taj is just an example. I mean, it can be Conrad or Waldorf Astoria or whatever. So now we'll have to work towards having a smart look rather than rich look.
Okay.
People who live in these hotels, they have better houses. So except, I mean, a poor guy like me who gets to go to those luxurious properties once in a while, but most of the regular guests are used to those luxuries now. So I think we have to work towards smart design. As a brand, we'll have to work towards flexibility of brand standards and focus more on this touchless technology, hygiene, housekeeping, and to make the guest comfortable. As Mr. Balji said, that this is not going to be there forever. Ultimately, I mean, I'm a very optimistic person that ultimately things are going to get back to normal. Maybe after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months or whatever. Because it just can't go on like this. But yes, as far as design is concerned, we'll have to be much more flexible. We'll have to be much more flexible with our standards. And ultimately, I mean, any business has to make some money. So if we invest so much in capex in building the hotel or renovating the hotel, that the return does not make sense, then there is no point in doing such kind of a business.
I think moving forward, it's going to be that, they're going to be cutting down all the frills from the hotels. It's going to be more smart hotels, more straight line hotels, and, even the darban or the gatekeeper or the, just somebody carrying your bags to the room and all that. I think that's going to be slowly cut off in India also, like it's there overseas. So I think we should look at all those aspects of the going forward.
You think the look's going to be more understated? The days of having glitzy spaces like W hotels and all that's going to become history.
Yes, I think we have to focus on understated luxury.
Yeah, that's something that's been on my mind and bothering me, that earlier we used to make hotels into these fantasy spaces with lots of drama and stuff. All that I think is going to be quite unnecessary now.
And also area programs are going to be a bit tighter now, not with very luxurious back of the house spaces, luxurious kitchens and all that. I think we'll have to gross floor area per key is going to come down drastically.
Right. So like what we are doing in the US, if you see the, Hiltons that we are doing here, or we are doing the Home2 suites that we are doing in the US, they are all, bare minimum. I mean, or a Marriott Courtyard we are doing here, and the Marriott Courtyard we are doing in India. I mean, it's just, Marriott Courtyard in India is a 5-star. Whereas over here, Marriott Courtyard is not even a 4-star. So it's, there are no frills out here. But out there, we just go in for, overdoing. And as I said, every owner that takes a brand for Marriott, or takes a brand of Hilton, or takes a brand of any of them, whether it's Courtyard, whether it's Fairfield, whether it's, Doubletree or whatever it is, he says, I'm doing a Hilton, I'm doing a Marriott. So I want the best. I want the pool, I want the banquet, I want the 2 restaurants,
I 100% agree with you. Because all these brands which are originated out of Europe or America, and we call them limited service or focus service, by the time they travel to China and India, they become much more than full service.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even the promoters, they are also very enthusiastic. They say, we are taking a Marriott brand, so we want this.
They sometimes,
which is
aspirational at times, that you can't stop them from doing whatever they're doing.
Right.
Mr. Balji, you were saying something.
Yeah, which is exactly what I started off by this thing, is that we have that still, we want everything foreign, and we have that, Gori Chambadi still, phobia that, okay, whatever comes from abroad is really super. So I think that probably needs a relook, and probably your interior design fraternity and all that can also look at, because if some foreign brand coming, he doesn't mind if it's a Courtyard and he wants, and a local guy wants to make it absolutely super 5-star, right? I mean, he's too happy, Marriott, because for him it's easier to sell. So he's very happy. So he doesn't really guide him also properly. He's okay, put this also, put this also, put this also. So that is where what is really happening in our country. And so post 2008, a lot of people went into a lot of problems because they had overspent on hotels and stuff like that. Land cost is high, construction cost is high because of the time it takes to construct a hotel here. So I think all that will change definitely. But then we need to be proud Indians that okay, we don't, what we require. I'm not saying you cut out the world. You cannot cut out the world. But what is really necessary, you should start looking at, whether it is interior design, architects, materials to be purchased from abroad, or it is brands to be got. Is necessary, get it. If it's not necessary, why get it? That is what my message to the entire hotelier and interior designer community would be.
Mr. Balji, I completely agree with you. I work for an American company, but I'm the most patriotic Indian which you'll find on this earth. So we are trying to promote all the Indian consultants and Indian products, and that is what my struggle has been working for various brands. But we are going to get there for sure. In fact, you might have seen that initially when all these international brands used to open the hotels, the general manager used to be always a Gora, but that is not the case anymore. So of course, see, getting an international brand helps in business because you get into their distribution chain. That is what their biggest strength is. And then you are also part of their loyalty program. I mean, I know friends who travel extensively abroad and domestically. So if he's a Marriott loyalty member or a Hilton loyalty member or a Starwood preferred guest, he will always look for that brand so that he earns miles or points on it. Because even if it is official travel, those points he can encash for his personal holidays or whatsoever. So, I mean, I completely agree with you, but tying up with international brands gives you access to global distribution, and which helps the business. That is what
I totally agree with you there that it gives you distribution, but it gives you very required distribution. If you have a tier 2, tier 3 cities when there is no foreign clientele coming in anyways, right? So what is the distribution you're going to get? This guy from US is not going to come to Morbi or something. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I also mentioned that, okay, in big cities, foreign brands are definitely recognized and there is an importance to it. But I'm saying that everybody should look at it, that what is the value, not because the foreign is good. What is the value? I know we got one of our hotels done by Harsh Bednar, Singapore, right? One of our hotels designed by them. But the guy who's sitting in Delhi office, he's an Indian, no? So what is the value I got out of it by paying that kind of fancy fee? So I'm just saying that we need to start thinking. I'm not saying that Hilton is bad. Hilton has got very good brand liability throughout the thing. But if Hilton is going to come to an A-grade city, I know I was bidding for a hotel in Dehradun and we'd almost closed the deal. And then he went for 4 Point Sheraton. Right? Now when I talk to him, he's a very good friend of mine. He said, "Yaar, tumne theek baat boli thi, 60 kamre ka hotel ke liye, my costs are so high with this, 4 Point Sheraton. The cost is very high. So whatever extra benefit I get in terms of loyalty, in terms of this thing, is eaten away by the extra fee I have to pay." So I'm just saying that today we need to become a little more careful. I'm not saying that, today foreign brands should not be there. We are international. We are going to be globally, global economy very soon. And Indian brand will probably go out also. So like some of the
it's already happening.
Yeah, they're going out.
I tend to agree with you, but the strength of Indian tourism or Indian hospitality industry is also domestic tourism. And even a small guy like me, I have I'm a member of 3 loyalty programs. And I go to Dehradun very frequently, and the hotel which you mentioned, I stay there every time because I'm a member of that loyalty program, and I was, of course, involved with that project, so I know it in and out. So, even domestic tourist is loyal to some program or the other. So even if there is a place like Ranchi or Patna or Dehradun.
Amitabh, there are 3 international hotel brands coming up in Gorakhpur, right?
Correct.
You're right.
So somehow this distribution, when I say global distribution, it is not limited to foreign tourists or foreign traveler. It is also applicable to domestic traveler, and we are a company of 1.35 crores, 135 crores, and a lot of them have now got spending power to travel within India, and people want to explore the country itself. And then there is a lot of business. For example, Dehradun. Dehradun was nothing till 10-12 years back, but now it is a state capital. So a lot of business tourism happens there. And such is the case with a lot of other small towns.
Okay. So let's hear it from the brand. What else you got to offer?
I'm sorry?
Your microphone's off.
There are a lot of questions. We've got some 400 odd people listening to us, and there are a lot of questions. So if you all want to take some questions, I can quickly go through some.
Yeah, sure.
So now in the post-COVID era, the groups like Marriott have come up with contactless checking, utmost care in sanitizing room, e-menus to avoid maximum contact, which will entertain some customers. About 30% of their general revenues keep coming in. So as far as these norms are concerned, do you think this will wipe out the mid-level hospitality hotels like Oyo in high cost for sanitizing for all the linens to the room? And is this a good sign for the overall industry for the health growth in big hotel groups?
I'll keep quiet about Oyo because I don't want to say something controversial.
What about the other?
Palji is the best.
Palji, you want to answer this?
No, I think, the general, today, all these, I'm not talking only OYO, I'm talking of all the unorganized sector which has got into hotels, service apartments, homestays and all that, which is a huge in terms of numbers. They are probably much larger than the organized sector. So people have to start looking at the organized hotels because they know that this brand will have a certain hygiene factor. And today, if you really look at it, what is the cost? Your hand sanitizing, actually, as it is, these habits should have been there earlier, even earlier. But it's not been there, theek hai, chalta hai kind of a thing. So we have become more conscious, and I don't think it's going to be that costly to do that. You may have a little fewer receptions if you do a contact like check-in. You save money there, and you're spending something for a handheld device or your mobile phone which will open your door also. So I think there will be some saving there, and there will be some additional cost. So I think smaller hotels, like we have large number of hotels which are small hotels in our chain. We have 60 hotels, and then we a lot of in the pipeline also. They are not hotels which are very 60 room or 80 room, 100 room hotels, so they can't afford very much. But that is not even required. All that is not required to give the basics, whatever is there. So I think so costs are not going to be there, and I think all the unorganized sector, will definitely get impacted. Will be scared that, okay, if I'm going to a apartment block which has got 4 rooms which are branded by somebody, and I don't know who's cleaning it, what is the thing. Just like this security issue also is there. In these kind of things that, if you have terrorists coming and staying there, who's checking them, who's this. So both security and sanitary aspects will all be taken into account when the customer is also concerned. So I think the organized sector, whether it is a budget or it is this thing, will definitely benefit from this pandemic rather than the other way around.
Yeah. Ayush, what do you think the cost implication is going to be there on all these retrofits and everything that you're going to do in a hotel? So if you could just give us an idea, Ayush.
The cost element in sanitary ware in a typical apartment in less than 0.25% of the apartment. So similarly, in a hotel where you're spending 60 lakhs a key or 80 lakhs a key, the cost of retrofit of the toilet is very small. But the life of the sanitary ware and faucetware products are 15 years, 18, 20 years sometimes. And there's a major renovation.
I've just started my hotel. It's just been 3 months, 6 months. And if I have to start going and doing these retrofits, then how is it going to, justify the cost?
Even then, the cost involved of changing a faucet to a sensor-based touchless faucet will be minimal. So our touchless range starts at 9,000 rupees a faucet. So the cost involved is minimal when you look at the benefits and you're talking about a touchless experience for the consumer and increasing your occupancy percentages.
Ayush, of course,
8-10 years minimum.
Maybe from your point of view, whatever you are saying makes a lot of sense. But you think from the owner's point of view, say for example, whatever example Reza gave just now. Now here the question is that there is no business, or say there is no profitability in coming days. And at the same time, one has to put in that capital expenditure once again, especially in case of new, comparatively new hotels. So it's a bit of a fix for the owner.
It's a very matrix to navigate. It's a very simple, easy matrix to navigate. Without doing it, you won't get a customer. By spending whatever X lakhs per room, you're going to increase your occupancy by that. But it's a very simple, spreadsheetable calculation.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then, you got to have that money to invest it, because I'm asking you this question because, again, I'm telling you, I have talked to brands, and brands are saying that we are ready to take back your fittings and give you new ones at a very minimal cost. So is Cera having some kind of a promotion or some kind of a, for the promoters?
We can definitely work on a case-to-case basis, because depending on the products you choose, the number of rooms involved, there'll be a very long matrix that we go through on the decision side. So we can definitely work something out.
Right.
And we are the only company where we are providing a 15-year warranty for the main copper body of the faucet. So that's the warranty standards that we are standing behind. We have a 250% technician after sales service force, and we are the only company which hasn't outsourced this to third-party contractors. So these are technicians in-house on our rolls, trained by us, kept by us. So
Right.
after sales service impact as well.
Balkrishna, you have something to say on that?
Yeah, yes, I wanted to say something on this. I think today you have two things on which you have to take a decision. One is must to have and good to have. Okay, when it comes to touchless solution, I think that's one thing which is a new trend in the customer behavior, and customer is looking at something where he has very little physical contact, and he's looking at access which is absolutely touch-free. So, and I can see, in fact, we launched this product a couple of months back, and the inquiry base which we have, of course, we have it from the major brands, as well as forget the major brands. Even we have inquiries from so-called 3-star hotels, local chains, and many people already started implementing, especially in the public areas like the toilets. So I think it's a trend which is going to stay. It's basically a customer demand. I think, and we have, as organizations, as companies, I think we'll have to adapt to the customer behavior. I think touchless is going to be the in thing, even with COVID or post-COVID, or once you get back to normalization. But I think touchless is going to be the thing which is going to stay for long. That's my belief. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, because myself, when I look at it today, when I go to a public toilet, I don't want to use anything. So I either take a napkin or something and I put on the faucet and use my, to wash my hands or whatever. But that's going to be there, and it's going to be imprinted on our minds. So we are the immediate generation, but the younger generation, they would get used to this more, and they would live with it for the rest of their lives. So I think that's going to be staying. So we have to look at it more in detail.
Viraj, any more questions?
There's an interesting one. What would be that one design or behavioral shift for a business versus a leisure traveler?
Sorry?
What would be that one design or behavioral shift for a business or a leisure traveler?
It's a crystal ball question.
Difficult one.
You want to take it?
Even earlier, a business tourist was just bothered about, he just wanted a clean room, clean washroom, and a good night's sleep. So that is going to remain the same forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be a shift in leisure travelers' behavior. I mean, I'm not very sure. One is that leisure travel will go down a bit, because people will be very cautious while traveling, while choosing their hotels and all that.
Families.
And, people would avoid long flights. That is what I feel personally. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I would like to say something as far as drivable distance. I think there's going to be a big boom in the domestic tourism. There are 26 million tourists who were going abroad every year, and now they can't go abroad. Now nobody wants to go to Europe or Southeast Asia or anywhere else. So they will be dying to go to Indian destinations. And I think it's a matter of just this lockdown. If there's a little clarity on lockdown, I think people will like to drive in, because they got fed up, staying at home. They're having problems with their wives, they're problems with their children. They just want to take them out. So I think there's going to be a big boom in leisure travel is concerned. And there again, leisure also, you're saying that, okay, be more functional and stuff like that. No, I don't think so. I think, leisure travel will continue to become more luxurious, because this thing, as I mentioned, will be forgotten very soon. And, you need good luxury products, because you get the ambience, the feel. You're going there to enjoy yourself. You're not going there just for the sake of a, clean bathroom, clean room. You need the luxury, you need the decor, you need the ambience, you need the local feel. So I think to my mind, luxury will, holiday destinations will continue to thrive. And of course, abroad, people from abroad will take some time to come. And so people from here will take time to go abroad. So that normally will take some time. But otherwise, I think things are not going to be that bad.
I think
Luckily, we have a good captive audience within our country itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
true.
think overall we have much lesser number of rooms than other countries.
The trend of Indians going abroad, I think doing those 2 vacations a year will change to domestic. I feel in the next coming year.
Yeah.
Also, I think that trend.
There are a lot of people who who go for vacations abroad twice a year or thrice a year. They might not have even seen 10% of India.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So now, as Mr. Balji said, there'll be a lot of increase in domestic travel itself. And I mean, I live in Gurgaon. There are so many places in Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh where I can drive down.
Yeah,
So why would I take a risk of taking a flight and going to Singapore or elsewhere?
Yeah.
No, domestic tourism is the key. I mean, we've been close to the tourism industry also, and the entire industry is talking about booming the domestic tourism for the next 6 months. I mean, that is the survival and that is the bread and butter they're looking for, at least in the coming 6 months, the tourism industry on the whole.
I think one last question for, I think, Bobby and Reza, I think y'all can take this. It's specifically towards architects. Do you think this pandemic situation, obviously because of COVID, has made all the newly upcoming hotels stuck with the design process and the new construction approval? How does this go forward from here? Are these design approvals, it's going to change, it's not going to change? Hotels which are in process.
As of now, what we are seeing is that the brands are not really interfering much with the design process. It's there's absolutely no new feedback coming in. It's only when these hotels open, there'll be some soft corrections to be made. But I think in their mindset, they're also looking at this whole thing to be just a short-term problem.
A temporary problem.
Bobby, I think Viraj meant government-related approvals, if I'm not mistaken.
The question was, about the design state changes and the necessary construction approvals also. Will it?
No, but I don't think there should be any construction approval problems in this, but it's actually a wait and watch situation, I think.
For example, there's, we're doing a big hotel in Bangalore where the brand has told us that you design the entire all-day dining with all the buffet counters and stuff, which might not be used, for some time when the hotel opens, but then after a few years, it would be used. So do not eliminate it for now. Don't expect it to be an a la carte restaurant in the long term as well.
Yeah, because
True.
It's all
like Amitabh is aware, Ahmedabad, we are ready to open. Everything is ready to open, and the promoter, how much he was in a rush, he doesn't know today what to do. Everything is in place. He just has to announce the date.
So I am also working on a couple of projects where the hotel is in a very advanced stage, the construction. But the owner is saying that, what is the hurry? I don't want to open right now. So let us go slow. But at the same time, I mean, all the funding also has some, interest, liabilities and all that. And there are a lot of destinations which heavily depend on weddings.
Right.
Right now, as per the regulations, I think only 30 people are allowed to attend a wedding. So, I mean, then what does he do with those big banquet halls? And weddings also help weddings or conferences to fill the rooms.
Yeah.
If that is not happening, then and wedding business, unlike Western world, is a very big business in India.
True. Yeah. Any other questions, Viraj? You want to take another?
There are few. Are we still going to be taking support from China for whatsoever for the entire manufacturing, the entire manufacturing industry, which has been operating? Are we still going to be dependent on China?
Viraj, going forward, a lot of manufacturing is going to shift from China to India.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think going forward, the dependency will keep on becoming lesser and lesser.
Absolutely.
From my side, I definitely would like to know the origin of the products. You know, there are many brands, Western brands, where the manufacturing is in China. Some of them are, you know, we can't do without it. But as much as possible, you know, we're going to try and find other alternates, preferably Indian alternates.
True.
Like the other, we were going to buy some televisions, and we had earlier bought this, Xiaomi televisions for one of our hotels, and they were very, very cost effective, very nice and all that. Now, when we're going for another order now, we said, okay, we won't buy Chinese product. We'll go for Samsung. It's more expensive, but then at the moment, we don't want to support China. So maybe it's a small thing. So that also, I think people should think of it that, okay, maybe you're paying a little marginally extra, but are you supporting an enemy or so? That is where nationalism comes in also. It's very important for us to look at that.
Mr. Balakrishna, you know, I believe a lot of your products do come out of China.
Not really. I think no, not really. I think in fact, when products which cater to basically the hospitality industry, which is basically a premium industry, I think most of the products are basically coming out of Singapore or from Germany. What we buy today, our total imports from China will be around 15%, and that too on a low category products. That's more on the commodity segment. Whenever we talk about in touch-free solution, even the door closers or the premium door closer, which is normally used in the hospital, the country door closer, everything comes from Germany or from Singapore. And of course, you all know we are basically a Swiss-based company, and we have plants in Germany, we have plants in Switzerland, we have plants in Dubai as well as in Singapore, and majority of.
But something like a basic door closer, which is one of your most hot-selling products.
The door closer comes from Singapore, sir. It's manufactured.
Fully made in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore and Germany. The cam action door closer is made in Germany, and the rack and pinion door closer, which is normally used in your hospitality segment, is made in Singapore.
So of course, my question is hypothetical. Door closer is a very simple mechanical device. Can't it be manufactured in India?
So it can be. It's not that it cannot be manufactured, but you really require that much volume. Today, the volume is not that great in India to cater to the whole requirement of setting up a factory in India. That's why we have it in Singapore, which is basically catering to the the specific market as well as the global market, because you need volume for the world. Having a volume just for India, I think it doesn't become financially viable.
Makes sense.
You see, we have the largest plant of sanitary ware in the country, 10,000 pieces per day. And these capabilities in the plant of manufacturing every kind of product were built over a number of decades. So if you look at the import statistics for the sanitary ware industry, ours would be less than 3%. And those are replaceable from our Indian vendors. But the most important and most complicated and technologically advanced pieces are all made in our factory.
See, it's slightly irrelevant, but I'll give you an example. I forgot the name of the brand. It's one of the largest manufacturers of shoes in Germany. It's a German brand. And they had all their manufacturing in China. And now they are shifting the whole manufacturing capacity to Agra with the tie-up with a local shoe manufacturer. So maybe this might become a trend going forward when the situation gets better.
The groundswell needs to come from consumers like hotel brand that please give us a certificate of origin, certificate of manufacturing.
So, my feel is the people I interact with, I feel the degree of patriotism or nationalism is increasing in the country now. As Mr. Balji said, nationalism is important. So going forward, I feel everything is quite positive and optimistic.
Viraj, I think that's all for now.
That's all. I think we've covered most of the other, questions which are on other design aspects and smaller design changes in the hotels, which I think is pretty much covered in the entire discussion. There's a question on are minibars really required, or they can be again something which can be designed at a later stage basis of the overall hotel. So that's again a question on minibars, which is again a small section of the whole. Yeah, but
I think for limited service hotels, for focused service hotels, usage of minibar is minimum. But when it comes to luxury hotels, we should definitely have them, and we should try to have not conventional mini bars, but kind of pull-out drawers which serve as mini bars, or contactless which comes out. But yes, for luxury,
you need
I mean, I know some business travelers, they check in at 2 a.m. in the morning and look for a vodka miniature in the minibar. So I think it is required.
So I think, moving forward is going to be technology driven. Like in some of the hotels in the Silicon Valley, they've come up with this robo, and the robot comes to the room and it delivers you whatever you require in, the room service. That you want food, that you want water bottle, you want anything. When you order, it comes up to your room and you open up there's a shelf, you open up and you pull out the water bottle and thing. So I think that's going to come in, and I think we're going to get rid of the mini bars as well.
We'll have robots serving.
Yeah. I think 4 Points is doing it, Amitabh.
Yes. Not all the properties, but yes.
No, the Silicon Valley, they've started 2 properties and they've started doing that.
That also saves on manning cost.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Viraj.
I think wonderful. I think wonderful.
So I think we can end with a namaste, which is what we are given to the entire world. Handshake is out. Namaste is in. So
going back to where our ancestors started.
Indian style. Okay.